Hey guys, Aaron here with another fountain pen video, and today we are reviewing the Fuliwen Celluloid fountain pen. And this is an interesting little pen. I think it's got a lot going for it. This is by no means an expensive fountain pen. I was able to acquire this pen. It's $23.70 with free shipping on eBay. It is a Chinese fountain pen, so I did have to wait a little bit as far as shipping goes. But actually, this pen came pretty fast. I got it within 10 days. This pen is got a interesting shape and characteristic to the body as well. So looking at the top of the pen, you notice the cap finial has an F for Fuliwen, and a little bit of texturing to that branding there. This is really the only piece of pen material other than the celluloid on the outside of the pen. There's no clip, as you notice. There's no cap rings, barrel ring, anything else on this pen. You'll notice that this pen is a hexagon shape, which I think is kind of interesting. I like that about the pen. And working down the cap, you'll notice that the cap becomes rounded as you get to the barrel. Now, I think that's really interesting, and I kind of wish that they would have gone with the same shape throughout the entire pen. I don't mind this, but the only problem with that is that happens, which for me is not a big deal. I don't mind the fact that there's no desk stop or roll stop for this pen, but you know, it's just something to think. Without it having a clip or anything like that, the pen kind of rolls around. Going down the barrel, you notice again, nothing else besides the celluloid material getting to the finial, and again, just the celluloid material there. This material is, to me, it is very, very nice in person. Definitely has some chatoyancy through it. I mean, in it, you know, I've already gotten a couple compliments about the pen. I actually had a person ask me today how much I paid for it. They were thinking it was a really, really expensive pen. And I was like, actually, no, it's pretty relatively inexpensive. Taking off the cap, it is, of course, a screw type cap. One thing that to watch for is you notice that we've got metal threads here, but your cap threads are just machined into the celluloid. So you've got to be really aware or cognitive of when you are putting the cap back on the pen that you're not cross-threading. I've already kind of caught that happening, and I'm concerned that at some point I'm going to ruin the cap threads with this pen. As far as the section goes, there is a slight step down onto the cap threads. If you're someone that holds your pen up high, the threads are not sharp, so that's something that you can definitely do. The section is somewhat elongated. No real, it doesn't really flare out or anything like that. It's just simply just a straight section. It is skinny. So for some people that they may not like that, if you're somebody that likes a real girthy section, this may not be the pen for you. For me, I don't mind it. You can post the cap, and it posts fairly deeply and securely, and it makes for a much longer pen. And I will say it's not back heavy because of the material. There's no clip on this pen, no real metal to weigh it down. It's well balanced when you have the pen capped. Taking the cap back off real quick, we'll look at the nib, and you'll see that this nib, see if I can get it to focus, there it goes. This nib is got branding on it with Fuliwen, and it is a medium nib. Let's see if I turn that off, you guys can see it a little bit better. There we go. And really, there's nothing else about the nib. As far as the nib performs, I will do a writing sample here at the end in a moment. The nib performs perfectly fine. It works good. Not a super dry nib, not a super wet nib. It's not a nib you're going to be getting extreme amount of line variation. just your basic nib. As far as the feed goes, just a basic plastic feed. Nib and feed are friction fit. Taking off the barrel reveals your your converter. Just standard international, came with the pin. This pin actually came with 2 converters, which I thought was kind of cool. I have an extra converter, use it for another pin or anything. So kind of nice that it came with 2 converters. As far as what I like about the pin, to me the pin's got a lot going for it. To me it is an attractive pin. I like the material. It definitely, I think, is an eye catcher. I love celluloid type materials like this, if you guys haven't noticed with most of my other pen reviews. So definitely something that's nice about the pen. What I don't like about it, the cap threads. It concerns me. I've already felt them cross-threading a little bit. If you're in a hurry and you're not paying attention and you're putting that cap back on, there's a chance that you're going to damage that and possibly damage the cap. So that's something that might be a deal breaker for someone. Now it's a pen that's less than $24, so I'm not going to totally freak out if I damage the cap. Outside of that, I mean, the nib it's a little plain. It doesn't do a lot. I mean, it does its job. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't do a lot for me. So that would be something else. But outside of that, the pen is very attractive, very fun to use. Quick sizing comparison. I've actually got a pen BBS here that I will be doing a review on at some point. But you'll see they're about the same size. Most of you might own one of those. Something else that's a really common pen. I've got a TWSBI Eco here. So you'll notice literally about the same size, not as much on the girth part, but overall size and length. So definitely not a super small pen, definitely a very usable pen as far as that goes. So coming up next is going to be the writing sample, guys, and I'll see you in just a moment. All right, guys, back. As I said before, we'll do a quick writing sample and we're going to get started. This pen is the Fuliwen Celluloid fountain pen. You'll kind of hear some of that feedback. It is a medium nib. The pen that I'm using is, the ink that I'm using is Noodler's Apache Sunset. Sorry guys, I had to grab something. All right, quick additional writing sample. All right, there you guys see the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Now, as far as some fast writing, so it works. No skipping. I'm not a fast writer. I apologize. Again, you're not going to really see much line variation with this pen. I wouldn't call it a nail, but it's fairly close to that. As far as wetness, now this Apache Sunset is a pretty wet ink and takes forever to dry. So, decent wetness. This is not a super wet pen either. Like I said, the nib, it does its job. It doesn't do a lot for me, but the nib definitely does its job. So really, that's about it, guys. That's all I've got. So this concludes our video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.